Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. And thank you for joining us today. And quite obviously, we always are very focused on how we can make sure that we're providing deliveries to our downtown folks, as well as supporting our downtown businesses and office buildings. So we did an approach where we actually went about doing a study. So our study, we actually call it Connect Downtown, and it was actually kicked off in 2020, recognizing that the population of Nashville had grown dramatically from 2013 to 2023. We had over 365% of an increase. In the third quarter alone, there was $1.7 million, 7 million square feet, of office space that came into downtown. We also were seeing roughly about 2022, about 14.4 million visitors. And that was recorded as to bring in an economic side of around $8.8 billion into our downtown core. They just announced 2 days ago that our airport actually had a banner year of approximately 24.8 million people visiting Nashville. So we've grown significantly in that area as well. And in 2022, we found that downtown collected 18.8% of the retail tax throughout Davidson County. So as you can see, there was this really big effort that was decided to be put in to try to figure out how we can create and move traffic better and continue to provide the space that our community needed for deliveries. So pulling things together. Next slide, please. Okay, sorry. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Oops. I was telling everybody earlier, technically inclined, I am not. So we did also have a conversation about must-haves for a great downtown. And as you can see, one of our third must-have is the ability for delivery vehicles to get into the downtown area. So really addressing it. And we're doing this through what we call active management. Next slide. So mobility challenges that we needed to address was, of course, our loading spaces. We had found that we had limited amount of loading spaces, and overall, just because of the growth of the downtown area and the direction we were moving in, we knew that we had a demand for the curb. So looking at that and how we can meet those expectations, loading spaces became one of our biggest challenges that we needed to address through Connect Downtown. So in our big moves, so out of the study, we actually came up with 5 big moves. So big move, of course, manage congestion. Number 2 was improve safeties. 3 was make sure we were moving people on all the different modes that we have downtown. Make sure we have connected networks of not only just for vehicles and for deliveries, but also for our active transportations. And we wanted to make sure we could maximize the curb. So the way we figured that we could maximize curb, one thing I want to just tell everybody about Nashville, we have a entertainment district. For those who have never been to Nashville, we have an entertainment district that actually sits right in the middle of our downtown core. So we actually have to make sure that we provide the ability for there to get goods and services for our entertainment district, as well as for our commercial side of the district. And our retail hotel side of the district. So we're having a lot of demands coming from many different ways. So through this study, one of the things we found is that we were going to have to look at our curbs in order to maximize them and create them as flex curbs, which our regulation did not allow. So we actually worked on regulations right off the bat that would allow us to look at flexing that curb. So if we specified a time that it needed to be used for delivery, it'd be for deliveries. If we needed to use it for rideshare, we could use it for rideshare and taxis. If we needed it for passenger unloading zones or charter buses, because we do have a lot of charter buses that come into our downtown region, we needed that. Also for parking. And then, of course, you always have those safety elements, and sometimes it's just good not to have anything on the curb. We had to take that in consideration. So we drafted regulations around the ability for us to flex the curb to whatever we needed it to be based on the demands that we have at any given time. So just to kind of give you an idea, we didn't go in this, say we're doing the whole curve. A lot of work was done. A lot of engagement was handled through all of this, not just with our businesses in the downtown and our building owners in the downtown, but it was also with residents. It was with the bar owners. It was with the restaurants. It was also with the folks that were coming downtown. It was with the rideshare. It was with the charter buses, you name it. Anybody we could sit and have a conversation with, we did. But we did come up with a game plan to start with out of the box. And that's kind of what's in front of you right now, is looking at the best times to be maximizing the curves. So what we did discover is we needed to increase the number of loading delivery zones that we had and unloading zones. So what we did is we're going to flex the curve. We're going to maximize this curve. A bulk of our deliveries are happening in the early part of the morning. It's also because of people that were parking and illegally parking, they would be double parking, blocking the travel lane, creating congestions, just kind of sometimes making it very difficult to get in as well as out of downtown. And plus we had the entertainment element on top of that. So what we did is we actually designed the flex curve that we expanded the unloading zones to where they operate from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then in the evenings, when we kind of flipped to where we're more of an entertaining downtown from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m., it really became about that curve being used by the Ubers and the Lyfts and the taxis. We also do pedicabs. We have horse and carriage, bicyclists, and I will say a majority of our guests in the latter part of the evening are on foot. So we wanted to make sure that we had those accommodations in place. So that's really why flexible curves came really important, but also identifying how we needed to flex the curves became kind of our action plan to move forward. So that's what the maximum curve program did, is allowed us to flex, but also identify how we needed to best manage it. So these are just kind of some draft smart loading zone process that we have taken this to our traffic and parking. We've gotten the flexer put together. NDOT has had tons of downtown stakeholder meetings with everyone. We're looking at a pilot project of maybe just starting in a small area. Got a lot of great comments back that we've actually already put into play. And we're looking to continue to move this forward. It gave the ability for me as the director of the department to change a lot on the curb, not have to go back, because our Traffic and Parking Commission actually is the authority over how the curb is used. But in this new regulation, it actually allows me. So if I need to make a decision that parking has to come out because we need to put in more unloading zones, I do not have to run back to traffic and parking that only meets once a month and ask for it. I have the ability to do it and then report it back and why we did it and the outcome of it. So that was a really important part of it. It's also working with the delivery companies, understanding what is that flexibility downtown need to be for them to deliver. So y'all, my earlier folks were talking about how to get people on the highway from their point of destination. And then we talk about how do we get them to their point of destination on the local streets. So it was really important to understand what those deliveries needed to be. We had some folks that come down and they're not just delivering to one building or one entity, they're delivering to multiple. And that can take sometimes more than 2 hours. So we are designing into this that ability to make those deliveries based on that amount of time. But we also don't want them to linger and stay. We want them to deliver and move on, because again, as we have found, we have a huge demand for the space and we do not have enough unloading zone. And as usual, everybody wants to be upfront and close. And that is not always what we can offer, because we have a lot of people coming in at one time. We are also working very closely with our folks, our utility companies, very close to what David had mentioned about what they're doing in Pittsburgh. We're looking at using that same process of where we're going to use cameras. We're going to be actually digging in and providing invoices for the use of that. So it's a really important process. And we've kind of been like using Pittsburgh as an example to follow, learning from their challenges as well as from their successes. So just some ideas, hours of operations. I wanted to put it out, our violation tickets right now, we can't charge over $50. That's actually something that's set in the state constitution. Andrew Jackson did that many years ago, and he put $50 in there thinking we'll never ever need that high, but here we are today. So we have to go through an entire state constitution change to be able to charge more than $50. So we've actually set this up more as a fee than a violation, so that we would be able to work through this process. So it's going to vary from state to state and city to city how you're going to be able to manage your curb. And I think that's one of the challenges that we're finding in our industry is what is the best way that we can do this, and what is it as a group that we can come together to maybe work with state legislation on the smartest way to manage the curb so that everyone's getting a fair shake at it and we're meeting the demands that everybody's asking of us at that curb in the inner loops of our downtown core or throughout our city limits. Next slide. All right, rate structures. This is really important. Hate to say it, but if you don't hit the pocketbook, you do not get behavior. So we are planning on charging. We have a baseline and then we have a peak hour line. So baseline is if they come in and they actually are delivering out of non-peak time, they are going to pay less for the use of that curb, but everyone is going to pay for the curb. Everybody pays for parking right now downtown. There is no charge for the unloading zones, but there will be a charge for the unloading zone. There will be a charge for the Uber and Lyft. Everyone is going to participate in this. And unfortunately, we're doing this because we want to make sure people do what they're supposed to. And then that way we always have the curb available for that, which is the person like us, the tourists, the visitors, the folks coming down to visit the different amenities that we offer in our downtown core, guests coming down to see folks that are in the office building. So the only way we're going to do that, unfortunately, is to hold people accountable. And we're doing that through a fee structure requirement. Just a little bit of signage that we're looking at and considering to kind of help people understand what they need to do and when they need to do it. This, of course, is not our time zone, but this is an example. I think we copied this from you, David, over in Pittsburgh, but we are actually heading in this direction so that we are setting the example on the roadway and letting folks know. Next. And then, of course, some of the impacts that we're looking to get out of this, and looking at other cities that have already done this, kind of leaning in on what they've done and been very successful with, as well as learning from their challenges so we can get better at it, is safety is our number one thing. We are a Vision Zero city, and we are about zero fatalities on our roadway. We are going into our third year of Vision Zero. So safety is really important. Someone blocking a travel lane that can't get around does create a lot of safety issues. At the same time, we want to be sustainable. We want to look at ways to reduce the emissions that is coming out, and congestion, which leads to an increase in emissions. So it's really important. We want to reduce the circle timing. We want to also reduce people just sitting there and not needing to be there, as well as we want to make that curb more efficient. As I had shared earlier, we just do not have enough space for all the demands. So everyone's going to have to take a part in sharing that curb. It's no longer defined for just one particular scenario. And with that, I'm here to take any questions. We do have our Connect Downtown coordinator. His name is Brent Schultz. He's been leading this for us in Nashville, downtown Nashville area, getting Connect Downtown to happen so that we can provide this a great level of service for everyone that is doing business or visiting Nashville, Davidson County. So thank y'all.
All right, thanks, Diana. That's great information. Just a few questions here. First question is, what has the reaction been from the business community and or the residents on this, on your Flex Curb project?
Well, the businesses, it's been a lot of conversation. I have to share, if we would have had this a year ago up and running, but it did require a lot of communication and a lot of stakeholder conversations about it. But they do all understand that it is kind of the wild, wild west now. And they're all at one point on the delivering end of this, meaning that they are unfortunately getting they get the same experience that maybe someone else did, in the meaning that they can't make their deliveries in the timely manner so service is one of the things we feel that will actually be added to this. The ability for everybody to be delivering on a more steadily timely manner is one of the best benefits coming out of that, and they're all on board for that. So That was it. The peak time delivery, the non-peak time delivery, believe it or not, a lot of folks have already adjusted that. They've already started moving over to where they're delivering at non-peak time, and the bars are working with them. The restaurants are working with that. So we're already seeing some of this congestion reduction happen. And so that's been one of the benefits that's come out of this just through conversations.
Okay, great, thanks. Another question is, how are you going to be charging the TNCs? Is that by parking event or consistent data collection on their trips?
Well, it'll be when they pull in, everyone, is going to have to register for the use of the curb. No one gets a free break anymore. And so when they come up to the curb using the cameras, they will actually be, because they've registered, they'll be charged. So the one thing we're having is they sit and take up the space. They're our biggest offenders, I want to say, all day long, all night, all the time. So that's what we really want to do, is get them moving. One of the things we're looking at right now is, do we have some place nearby where we can kind of let them sit and rest until they get a call? I'll give you an example. We're so busy on a Friday and Saturday evening with the amount of pedestrian traffic we have on the entertainment district, which we call Lower Broadway, that we have to close the street down to handle the number of pedestrians we have. And that creates a whole nother level of chaos. So we have now set up rideshare zones that are on the outside of that place. So along the northern road and the southern road, and they will only be able to pick up and drop off there. And so they're going to need a place where they can stand and wait until they get called to come to that place to pick up from someone, because everyone's going to be sent to those places. So we are using those with the TNCs, where they'll be sent to those rideshare spaces. They won't be able to pick up on the road, the Lower Broadway road, because that road is closed and it's only available for emergencies, but they'll be able to pick up on the outer two roads. So those will be the opportunities. So we're working through all of that. So the whole point is, we want to get them where they're not circulating, they're not creating congestion, and they're not cruising. So we're working through all of that right now, and that's a really important step. We're actually going to begin that whole process on September the 12th.